All right. So this is going to be part 2 on my spiritual awakening. The fun stuff. I did a part 1. That stuff is all right. It's pretty cool. But this is more of the stuff that is like the stuff that I was talking about, that I was like, it's kind of out there, kind of crazy. I'm not sure what'll happen about this or how this will... Maybe I'll get lucky and some so-called spiritual people will see it and believe me, and then I'll finally have someone other than the couple of friends I have to talk to about it. That would be nice. I can't talk about it at home. I mean, I can, but it doesn't it's not very pleasant all the time. Now I just look like I'm the out there person, which kind of sucks, but it's funny at the same time. Whatever. So, got my handy dandy notebook, and I'm ready to talk about my spiritual awakening. Hopefully I don't put you to sleep. Alright. Where to start? Isn't that why I wrote it down? So that way I can know where to start and be on task? Oh my god. Alright. So, let's see, what do I got here? Oh yeah, that on the first awakening talk, I mentioned like how I had like picked up like 3 people a day at my job and so on and so forth. Well, the thing about that was, and how I like woke up at weird hours and only got like 3 hours of sleep. The thing about that, to just to add on to that, is I didn't just wake up at a weird time. I was woken up by something. And it was weird too. And it was telling me, it was an angel. And it was telling me, and like I could feel it like in my head and whatever, heart, and I was like kind of like a zombie, just moving each time I got up at those weird times. And I just kept hearing like, we have work to do. And what was the other thing? Did I write it down? Oh yeah, we have work to do, and like someone needs us or whatever. And it wasn't even like I was awake enough to be like, huh? Oh, okay. No, I just literally was like moving like, we have work to do. Someone needs us. We have work to do, like that. It was like just kept playing as I'm like cooking and brushing my teeth, and that was weird. But you know, whatever. It things happened, so I'm pretty sure it was legit. Oh yeah, and then also the weirdest thing was on the 3rd day, when I was waiting for that 3rd person, I just somehow had this knowing of that the 3rd person, who ended up being the 9th person of those 3 days, was the last one. And then I had this weird knowing of like, that was it. It's completed. And now things are gonna like chill back down again. And yeah, sure enough, it did. And literally right like before I got her, I was told like, this is gonna be the last one. And then after, I was like, I literally right after she got out of the car, it was like, that's it. And I was like, oh, all right. And I was like, so things are gonna calm down, I can go back to getting regular hours of sleep. And they're like, yeah. And I was like, oh, thank God. And yeah, so and thank you, Robert Edward Grant, for saying what you said about the whole things, like how on the interview with on Aubrey's podcast, or whatever you want to call it, his show, and you mentioned how like things pick up and then they quiet down and so on and so forth, because that's like By the time I heard you say that on there, I was like, I already know. It's like, yep, yep, yep. But like, yeah, you know, at the time I was like, man, what's going on? It's like it goes crazy and then it quiets down and then it go, and so it's just a theory that I had accepted, but you helped me be able to be like, oh, all right, cool. So it's not just me. So thanks, appreciate that. And all right, let's see if we can dive in here to what happened, how I got to be the way I am right here and now in this present moment. Oh, looks like I got some more add-ons. When I mentioned like my friend and I having experiences around the same time, but we weren't talking to each other, and then we connected again. Well, one of the things that we both got was, which was weird at the time because we didn't know what was going on, was that we both had kind of come back to each other and said to each other that from what we felt and got, we kind of like landed on that there's like the God that everybody all worships and stuff, and is like, you know, looking to whatever from all the different religions and all the different beliefs and all that stuff. Well, we had both come back with this information saying like, dude, it's like, we were like, it's all the same God. And that God knows that. So we had come, like, our information was like, I don't think he cares about what name you call him and this, that, and the other. Now I could just explain all these things, which is even weirder, like to go from like thinking you're trying to figure stuff out and not quite, you know, knowing what's going on, but now I'm just like, I could just boom, 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 break it down. But yeah. And then the other thing was, we had both picked up about like all the other planets and whatnot in the universe and so on and so forth, and we had both felt all of them and kind of seen them too, and we had this inkling at the time of like, it was like we just felt like it was like we're all of them are all trying to do the same thing, and that was something that we still have that today. We still will have things happen or get, you know, information however we get it, whether it's just intuition or whatever, and it's always around the same time, and then we talk to each other and he'll be telling me something, I'm like, dude, that's what they've been telling me that for like 2 weeks. All right. And yeah, so that's that. All right. I think I could get into the good stuff. Oh, that's fun. Oh yeah, I'm excited to talk about this one. This one's really fun. Oh, you see me lighting up? Oh. All right, yeah. It's cool. It's almost like I put it in like a way where it flows with the previous thing, like a segue. So in my travels to other realms and dimensions, one of the things that's happened to me is I've kind of picked up / been given the ability to be able to recognize that which you would call ascended masters, which is the only reason why I even do these videos on them, and there's gonna be a whole lot more too, trust me. But yeah, it might sound far-fetched, but my vape. It might sound far-fetched, but I legit, I can recognize an ascended master when I see them, and more importantly, like I feel it first, and I just know. It's like when I was there in those other spaces, dimensions, realms, whatever you want to call them, talking to other beings and having them talk to me and all that stuff, and the so-called angels and things like that. Basically, the only reason why I even cover this topic is because they kind of just told me everything. So, yeah, like it was like a combination of them telling me and then me just walking around doing my own thing, just kind of putting pieces together. But they kind of just straight up just, boom, this is this and that's that and that's what this is and that's why this and so on and so forth. And so I can be looking at one on a screen and I can recognize, I'll feel it first, it just comes over me, and I'll already kind of know, and then I just wait to listen to what they have to say to see if like I can confirm, which I already am like 100% about. And then they say certain things, and then I'm like, huh, yeah, that's what I thought. There's one right there. So it's really funny now because there's a few of them that are going on interviews and talking to people, and they'll be talking to people who are like interested in like the whole Ascended Masters topic. And the funniest shit about that is like, it'll be like they might get asked a question about them, or they come up in conversation, and now I'm like sitting there on the couch and I'm like, you're talking to one, dude. How are you not knowing this? How are you not picking it up? And I know the answer to that, but it's just like, it's hilarious. So I legit could just like, if I really wanted to, I legit could just like take the list that I've already gotten, that I've seen, where I know who's who and what's what, and I could just say who they all are to you right now. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm only even mentioning it just in case, because I'm trying to be careful about what I say. I'm only mentioning it just in case if one of them happened to be watching this, which I don't know why they would, but if they were, just to make because I know that they would know, since I kind of understand their workings. They would be aware of and able to tell that I'm telling the truth and I'm not making anything up. They would know, like if you're watching right now, you know. So I just did that just kind of mess with them, but I'm not gonna do that. Oh man, this is fun. It's so much fun. And don't worry, with all my other videos that I plan on putting out, and I'll start, I can't wait to get to the fun, more like awesome, like meat and potatoes stuff, that's like the more mystical stuff to talk about and cover, and start shooting out wisdom so people can be like, oh shit, maybe this guy actually does know what he's talking about. But yeah, I haven't quite gotten into the juicy stuff that I want to. But the problem is the moment I feel I go with my feelings, and right now the thing that's kind of at the priority is just getting out the information for people to be able to master themselves. So I got to start figuring out a way, maybe I can do them like in between, do some cool universal wisdom knowledge stuff, and then do the stuff where it's just like, all right, to me it's all the same thing, it's all cool. But yeah. All right, let's see what else we got next. Yeah, did that. Oh yeah, so cool, Gaia. That's something else that happened, and that's this is something else that's really fun that happened. I needed that for this. Since waking up and remembering who I am, and how the universe works and things like that. Well, uh, it's weird. I just do things whether I'm here or say in another dimension or whatever. I I'll just do things while I'm there or whatever, that without having to think about it or whatnot. It just happens. It's like I just know that I can. It's just a knowing, which makes perfect sense. But one of those things was I found out about Gaia, and I wasn't really all that familiar with who Gaia was or that name or anything like that. But then somehow, like, things just kind of, with all this, is like literally just things are just coming my way. Like, even all this information and all these other things that I didn't go looking for anything. They just were just hitting me, and crazy stuff was happening to me, around me, or whatever, through people or a video or just whatever. It's just going. Things are just going down. And one of the things that happened was somehow, some way, I got introduced to Gaia, and I started talking to her, and I think I mentioned this in another thing, like about people who like channel and stuff like that, which I can't wait to cover and explain some of that stuff. Not that it hasn't been done already. I just want to do it my style. So I channeled Gaia basically, but I invited her into myself, and we spent some time together for, like, we still do it. Yeah, we hang out a lot. But when it first happened, I was like, I just like chilled with her for a few days, and somewhere in there, I can't quite remember what exactly the actual moment it happened or like what preceded it, but somehow, some way, basically, I decided to, I don't know, I just was talking to her, and then I placed her in my heart, which I hadn't heard anyone else even say that until way after, like within the last maybe month and a half to 2 months. I saw an interview with someone, and they mentioned something about when they were like, had a near-death experience or something, and they were in heaven, and they knew they couldn't do something or other, so they just placed someone in their heart or whatever. And I was like, that was just another, that's what I mean, like, things will happen to me first, and then I see it after. Like, for example, like Kundalini awakening, which I call the Kundalini awakening, and I've only heard one person explain it the way that I experienced it. I'm not gonna say who. That one you're gonna have to put together yourselves. I ain't doing that. But yeah, like I never heard of that word, but I had this certain experience, and then all of a sudden that word started floating around me everywhere that I turned, and then I was, so like, then I'm like, oh, so that thing that's what that was. That's been my whole experience, is things will happen in my vicinity, and then I find out after what they are. So what I mean, I don't research, I don't read, I don't do anything. I don't have a plan on writing any books, because I personally don't even like reading books. I'm the type like the dad in Matilda, where it's like, there's nothing you can get from a book that you can't get from a television faster. That's me. So yeah, so with Gaia, I placed her in my heart, right? And then since that moment, all of a sudden other things started happening. And one of which was like, I would be interacting with her, and then all of a sudden I would get pictures in like my mind and my mind's eye, and see things. I'm not gonna say exactly what it was that was like transpiring or what I was doing, but like ancient feeling things and other things were happening. And all of a sudden I would start to know, like, it's like I was being talked to while I saw these images, and the things having to do with the earth. And oh, thank God I have a friend to talk to about this, and I got the proof. I would text my friend after I would have these experiences with Gaia and tell him to expect, for example, like, I would say, like, I would be like, or I'd call him and I'd be like, expect a bunch of earthquakes, but don't worry about it. They're not, they're not, like, it's not like everything's gonna get destroyed. It's just, there's gonna be a bunch of them, but things are gonna be all right. It just, the earth is just relieving pressure, and like, with like, it's gonna take pressure off like the fault line, so everything doesn't get all jacked up. And like, fortunately I'm blessed with some pretty open-minded friends, and this one in particular is the same one who had things happening to them as well, so he was just like, oh, okay. Like, he wasn't freaked out. And I think he was the only one I told at the time. I think he still is like one of two people who I even mentioned this to, but I had told him way before. And then sure enough, and this is what I mean, like, things just, information finds me. I told that friend about that, and then all of a sudden, a few days later, the wife starts talking to me, walks out of the room and tells me, oh, hey, there's been like 50 over 50 earthquakes, but they were all minor earthquakes, and apparently they're saying that the scientists are saying that it's a good thing, that it's taking pressure off the fault line, and that it's a really positive thing. And I'm just sitting there like, what? And she's like, earthquakes. And I'm like, yeah, I heard you, but how many? And then she's like, over 50. And I was like, and you said it relieved pressure and it's a good thing? And she's like, yeah. So just thought I'd pass you that information. And I'm sitting there now in the know, knowing like, okay, thanks, I appreciate it. You guys are always, there for me. I'm always right where I need to be. You let me know what I need to know when I don't have to do anything. And so then there's that one, which it was just that I'd chalk it up to coincidence. But then I text my friend after another same thing, hanging out with Gaia, and and then all of a sudden I tell him, I just send him a text message going, water. Expect some water disaster. And then again, I'm minding my own business, and some days go by, and I think I was like at work, and then I don't know why, but the wife, for some reason, I'm not telling her anything. So I don't even know why she'd send me this information. Like, I need to know. Like, okay, I don't live there. and she sends me this text of some news footage coverage on like YouTube about Guam and some typhoon, and I'm looking at it, and the first thing I go to do is look for the dates, and I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, I mean, I was expecting something. I don't know. I could look and see where and what's gonna happen where and so on, but I just, for some reason, just don't care enough. It's like, with my personality, all I need to know, like, when I see these things, I'm there and I can see them, and I have the sense that I can go look around and get more detail about what's actually going on and like get specific locations. I just don't care enough. All I really do is just ask my guides, like, but it's not here, right? And then they're like, no, how do you feel? And they explain to me. I'm like, yeah, I feel like I'm good. And then like, Gaia's always there to talk to me and be like, yeah, our relationship special. I love you just like you love me. I'd let you know. I'd make sure you'd know to go on vacation if I was gonna destroy where you live. And yeah, so then she sends me this thing about Guam and the typhoon, and then I text my friend that same message, and I go, dude, look at what the lady just sent me. And then he's just like, whoa, shit. I'm like, I know. And then if it only had stopped there, and then you keep going, right? And then I'm like, all of a sudden, same thing. I'm hanging out with her, and I feel things, and I see things, and then I text him again, and I'm like, dude, volcanoes next. And he like he I don't even know if he asks me where or not, but even if he did, I would have been like, I didn't bother to look. Maybe he did ask me, and I was like, I didn't bother to see that shit. Like, all I know is it's not gonna be over here, so whatever. And then he just is like, cool, all right. And I'm like, because I just tell him like it's a good thing. It's the planet. It's doing what it needs to do. You know, things. This is a beautiful time to be here. You know, and then sure enough, again, it's these ones kept coming through the wife. Just she's all of a sudden, and again, I'm not telling her anything. I hadn't mentioned anything yet because I knew she'd be like, you know, time time for divorce. The next time I come home, I'm just getting served papers. But nah. So I told him expect a volcano, and then again she sends me something on my phone, and it's a volcano erupting, and I'm like, oh crap. And then I'm like, all right, okay. It's like it's each time I start to actually let myself start doubting, or I try to rationalize any of this stuff away, then something else it seems like it'll whatever comes my way after that, if I actually convince myself, which when I think I'm being rational and logical, that this stuff ain't real, then it's like right the moment, like right after I actually like kind of lock it in and think, oh, I made all that up, all right, cool, I'm gonna like, and it's like almost pushed out of my mind like completely, that all of a sudden something else just happens like right in front of my face, and I'm like, every time, and they're like, explain that, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on, I don't know how to explain it. And yeah, and so I think what it was yeah, so it was that she sent me that first volcano, and then again I go and I text my friend, and I send him what she sent me, and then he's like whoa. And then I go and I already checked out the story, dude. I go, nobody got hurt, like they were able to like, you know, get out of there. It's like before, and he's like, oh, okay, cool. And I'm like, yeah. And then I tell him, I text him or call or told him on the phone, whatever. I'm like, expect another one. And he's just like he's at this point he's just like, okay, all right. And then we don't have to talk anymore. And we go about our business, you know. And and then that's when I think the second one came, and then the lady comes out to me again in the living room, and she's like, another volcano went off, and I'm like, what? And then she's like, a volcano's erupting. She says, what's going on in this world? And then I start laughing hysterically, and then she's like, why are you laughing? And I'm like, you said a volcano went off, right? And she's like, yes. And then I just start dying laughing harder. And then she's like, it's not funny. And I'm like, which made me laugh even harder. And then she's like, you're laughing about a volcano? And people could be getting hurt. Blah, 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 blah. People could die, you know? And I was like, are people dying? Did you hear about how many people got hurt? Did anybody get hurt? And she's like, I don't know. I was watching. No, I don't think I think they're evacuating. And I'm like, oh, cool. All right. So they got time. And she's like, it's still not funny. What are you laughing? You're sick. And I was just like, and I go, you know what? I wasn't planning on saying anything to you, but I guess I'm going to go ahead and tell you now. And I'm like, here, let me get out my phone. It'll be easier if I tell you and like show you and tell you at the same time. And I kind of tried to find a way to tell her like, yeah, somehow, some way, I've been talking to my friend, and I go, each thing that you've been sending me from the news, I go, you know, the typhoon and the earthquakes and the volcano, now this volcano, and she's like, yeah, and I'm like, well, I've been telling my friend this, that it's gonna happen literally just days before, sometimes it's like a day before, you tell me about it and send me this information, and then you come out each time and you tell me. And it's just funny that for some reason they're using you, but it makes sense, close proximity. And then she's like already got like the you're crazy face, and I'm like, just hold on, look at my phone. I go, look at this text message, like look at this texting thread, whatever. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, look right there. And I go, look at the date. And then I'm like, now scroll. See where you sent me that? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, now scroll down now, or scroll up, whatever. And I'm like, now look at what I sent him. And now read the date. And then she was just like, kind of like, all right, what's going on? And and then and so then I was like, yeah, so you said there's a volcano, and I was like, she's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, I was laughing because that's why I was laughing, because you're telling me this stuff, and each time I tell him something, then you come and give us the information and of what we were expecting, and it's just like, I'm laughing because it's like ridiculous, like how is this happening, and a bunch of reasons, you know. And then I tell her, and I go, and check this out. And I go, there's going to be another one. And she's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean there's going to be another one? And then I'm like, there's going to be another one. And she's just like looking at it like, yeah, okay, you're crazy, whatever. And then it's not till like, you know, fast forward again, maybe it's another few days or so, or who knows. I'm not the best with time. I finally understand why I never gave a crap about time. So then she's with me in the living room, and then all of a sudden she looks at her phone, and she's like, I felt the energy first, so I kind of expected it coming. And then she's got her phone, and she goes, okay, what's going on? This is really weird. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't know. And she's like, and I'm like, what is it? And she's like, just look at it. Just look. And I'm like, because I want to hear her say it. And I'm like, and then right as I'm looking, I'm going to say it, she's like, another volcano. And I'm like, I told you. And then that was like what kind of like got her to start like being like, all right, okay, you know, this is a thing now. Because I've never been this type. I was never ever anything like this. Like never talked about anything like this. The spiritual stuff, I didn't even know what that was. So it's just funny to go from like not being even familiar with all this stuff to like now being like so in it, so to speak. And yeah, so she's still on the fence back and forth, but one of the things that helped her out is like she comes from like a long line of clairvoyance, so which is funny. That's why it's like the dynamic in our relationship is like kind of like had this weird flip, because she has believed in being clairvoyant. She is, and I didn't get that. It used to freak me out. I used to think like I needed to run for my life, or I was torn between like, do I burn her at the stake, or do I like literally like pack all my crap and get as far away from here as possible? Because she would always just predict stuff like little things here and there like that, where you'd be like, yeah, okay, and then all of a sudden sure enough it would happen, and you're just like, you did that. It's not, no, you know. So, and for now, for me to be on that side is like weird, and because she knows that I didn't believe in anything like that too, so it's like double weird for both of us. But that's something that's happened in my spiritual awakening. There's actually a little more to it with these earth things. I'm just not gonna talk about it here. I'll know who I need to talk to about that stuff when they present themselves. I would love to go into more detail, but I also got a lot to get through. So let's see. So that was one thing that happened that was like, what? And then oh, cool. think I'll end this one here. This is the other thing. The other thing that happened was I had I was new to, I had never heard of numerology or angel numbers or anything like that, right? Never heard of it. If anybody wants to investigate, go talk to everybody I know. They'll tell you. I've had people will tell you, my friends will tell you. They'll be like, dude, this guy didn't even believe in the zodiac. He didn't even know what his sign was. Like, I don't know any of this stuff. At least I didn't. I still don't know anything compared to other people in a sense. But whatever. So I had been put on to angel numbers. Well, not angel numbers. I got put on to paying attention to numbers by one of those girls I picked up, or people I picked up, being a goober driver, and then cause she mentioned, like, you know, whatever number when I said she was the 9th person, and she mentioned that it showed up in my car or whatever, and while I was talking to her, and so then I started paying attention to that and seeing, I'm like, what is she talking about? And I still didn't get it, but then all of a sudden, sure enough, I started noticing it was like between that and then and the fact that I was like recording the times of when I was waking up, and how it was always some type of number divisible by 3, if not a number that just was like 3 itself. And then so I kind of slowly made my way into figuring out angel numbers by accident, just like I kept getting blasted with certain numbers all the time that it made me finally look up and go, what the hell, does this mean anything? So then I found numerology, and then angel numbers, and then I'm on this site reading about certain angel numbers, and I had started doing that for a short bit, my friend as well, I had put him onto it because he realized he's had certain numbers that's followed him his whole life. And I was like, right, like, we just weren't paying attention, we just weren't acknowledging what was going on. We were just like, you didn't notice. But now we're like, holy crap, this whole time, you know? And so I was going to the site that I had been using for reading about whatever numbers that the angels were giving me to look up, and that was the thing that was about it, is every time I went to look up something they told me to look up, and I thought, coincidence. Every time I'd go to look it up, it was the same with my friend. Like, I'd be by myself and I'm looking, and then I'd start reading, and I'm like thinking, like, it's just gonna be a waste of time. And then I start reading, like, whoa. And it was just like, boom, just hitting me. Like, it always was talking to me about exactly what was going on in my life at that time, or what just happened, or what I was just feeling or thinking or whatever. Like, literally, it was like I'm looking over my shoulder, you know, and I'm like, who's following me? Who's watching me? And so this particular site, like, the little ad thingies on it, I never really paid attention too much, but I did notice that it was always the same ads that had nothing to do with anything in spirituality whatsoever. At all. Like, none whatsoever. Nothing. Had nothing to do with it. It was just like ads for products. And then one day, out of all the times I had looked at it, all of a sudden, I see this like kind of ad thing, and it was like, what was even weirder was, it's like the numbers in the message that I was getting itself was like something was telling me, like, there's going to be something else on this page. There's more reasons that we're having you go here instead of just reading this, like what you usually do. And there's going to be something, and I was feeling that, but I was thinking, like, I don't know, it's just a feeling. And sure enough, I get down and there's an ad, and it said something about like I don't know, indigo children. Yeah, that was it. I had at this point heard, I think, about star seeds and something else and something else. That's how familiar I am with all this stuff. I'm also just, you know, I'm tired. But yeah, so I clicked on it because I was like, what that? And at the same time, I was like, I felt like something was like, that's me. Like, click on it. And I was like, okay. And I click on this thing, takes me to a whole article, and I start reading, and this is where the fun stuff kicks in. So I start reading this article on indigo children, and then as I'm reading it, like while I'm reading it, I started feeling my energy just started feeling weird, like my whole body, like, I don't know, I was getting like this like weird, I can't describe it, these weird flashes of vibrations or whatever, and I got to a certain part in it, and it was like, as I'm right when I get to this certain part in this article, all of a sudden I start having images in my head of seeing something, and like just clear as day, just like just flashes of it, like my eyes are open, but it's like I'm somewhere else seeing something else. And then then out of nowhere I feel and hear the word fall, and I feel and hear it like this, just like that, just like fall, boom. And next thing you know, I gotta take a hit for this. Next thing you know, I think I like dropped my phone or something, and like my hands, like arms went up, and all of a sudden my energy is just like, it was just like going crazy. It's just like, to make it simple, I'm being guided as this is happening. So it's, while at the same time it's spontaneous and out of nowhere, one of my guides is right there, literally talking to me and walking me through this situation, this process. And so I already was being told and knew, you're right now, this feeling that you're feeling, you're reliving a memory, and you're gonna experience and feel this memory again. Just remember to stay in your heart and to know it's all love, you know. And I'm like, and so I'm like, yeah, all right, I could do that, no problem, because I had already been coached by them to be like that all the time anyway. So I was like, yeah, got it. But basically, I felt and heard fall, and boom, it happened, and it was like my whole body constricted and went up, and I couldn't move, and I just felt like this sinking feeling. Dude, what's his name? The dude with the pre-birth memory, Christian, is it Sunderberg something? I don't want to say your name wrong, I'm sorry, but the guy, his name's Christian. I've heard another person describe this too, which is weird, because there's this pre-birth memories. From the way I've had it explained to me, mine is a memory, but it's not necessarily a pre-birth memory. I don't really want to divulge too much more about that. I just want to get into this part, this main part, and we'll see in the future if I decide to say more about what I know happened. And so next thing you know, that I'm like frozen stiff, like this, kind of like shaken but like stiff, and I'm feeling myself fall, and I'm feeling myself coming to earth, and dude, it sucks. And that's what I mean about Christian doesn't, he says, like, I think he described it like being like crammed into like a tuna can or something. I don't remember exactly what he said. Dude, whatever I felt when it happened to me was the way I described it to my friend was, it was the most awful thing I've ever felt in my entire life. And it was the worst, hands down. It was worse than having my hernia surgery, and then having to be wheeled out of the hospital and feel every bump in my testicles and my stomach and my groin. It was worse than, I've had a lot of things happen to me. I'm an extreme sports enthusiast. I've been in a lot of pain you know, whether it was on accident or I jackass style on purpose. And I have a high pain tolerance, but this was like all of your, if you can imagine all of your being, it was awful. It hurt so bad. And the other thing that I noticed is it was crazy. I got to know what it felt like to go from knowing to not knowing, not remembering, right? To forgetting. And the thing is it was like, it's not like quick. It somehow feels like lightning quick, like the way it happens, and you feel yourself constricting and condensing, you know, like while it's going, but it's like it's gradual, and it's not fun. And I was, you know, and I'm just reliving a memory of something that's already happened, and I know to love how I'm feeling. And even doing that, like, put it this way, at one point, I felt my guide, my old buddy, my old pal, ask me if I wanted to pull out. He was like, all right, you know, you got enough of it. He was like, I know you're probably not, you're going to want to stay in, but, you know, you can come out of that. I could, like, help you out. You don't have to go through the whole way, like, if you don't want to. And I remember being like, well, all frozen, you know, in my, like, mind being like, yeah, no, it's pretty awful, but no, I'm cool. I want to see this through. I'm already here. Let's keep going. And they're like, all right, well, just so you know, you can get out. And I was like, yeah, I got it, you know? And so what I'm getting at here is, it's like you feel yourself like constricting and just condensing down, while at the same time feeling this like kind of like plummeting feeling. And along with that, I was able to remember my name, of who I was. Say if you're at the top, you're in the knowing with this whole fall thing. I remembered who I was. I remembered that I'm God. I remembered how awesome everything is and how awesome life is. And I remembered why I was coming to do what I'm doing and all that stuff. I had it all. I knew what I was doing. It wasn't like you got people talking about like reincarnation trap. All right. It ain't like that. That's a whole other video. Anyway, so I was completely aware. I making the decision. All right, let's go. Time to go. And I knew what I was getting myself into. But it was, when I say gradual, I mean like it was like as you go, it's like one thing goes. You can feel yourself forgetting certain things. That's the part that like probably felt the most, like there was the one thing of feeling that pain of coming here, but the other thing was like it was scary because you're aware at first that you're forgetting things about yourself. So I'm forgetting, like you could feel it. Like I don't know how to. I wish I'd record this much sooner. It'd be easier. But it's like, say like you know, you forget like a piece of something of I'm trying, so I could paint a picture. How do I say it? Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's like you got your mission, you know you're here, you know this, and like say as you're going, like you forget your name. And say you still remember what you're doing, like you're still able to remember why you're coming, you still have the other parts. And then you become aware of like, oh shit, what's my name? You know, but you're like, but I know I'm coming here to do this and that. And you're like, whoa, I'm forgetting. Oh, that's what this feels like. Blah, blah. And then it keeps going. And then you forget another aspect of yourself. And you feel that and it goes all the way, just keeps going like that until you hit a certain point where you legit don't remember anything anymore. And then I hit this place of like, who am I? Why am I here? What am I doing here? Why is it like this? And feeling all these other sensations and things. And like, I got to relive that, or re-experience that, I should say. And that was fun. And it was horrible. It was weird because after going through it, it was one of these things where I'm aware that, like, I have this weird awareness that I might go back at some point in time while I'm here in this life and experience that again and go back and see if I can feel and get more information out of it. But at the same time, it's like something I'm not looking forward to because it was awful. But at the same time, it's like I'm kind of looking forward to it because it was so interesting. But yeah, basically after that happened, my whole body here was like it went through the ringer, and the wife came out, and like I was like all shaky, and I had been like I was just like tears were just pouring out of my face, and I was like crying like somebody I knew died, and I had been trying to stop doing it, but like my body, the way it responded, just kept going, and I was like, what the hell, dude, this is intense. And it actually took me out for a few days or a couple of days. Like I wasn't myself after that. The way I functioned and everything else, like I just was out of it. And I told my friend, like, text him what just happened to me and so on and so forth. And then I guess I had information to say to him that I got from it, and that's what helped him be able to, like, I mean, he doesn't doubt much, but it helped him be able to be like, oh, he's legit, because I'm saying things about existence that I didn't previously say before, and it lines up with everything else that we've got. So yeah, that happened, and that was trippy as so. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end that there. This is gonna be the end of part 2 of my spiritual awakening story.
Magic body redefined.